Andy made the trails, opened up the land. Andy gave America a mighty helping hand. Andy's on the move, Andy won't rest. Andy Burnett, he's a traveling west.
And now your host, Walt Disney.
Maps like these have always held a great fascination for me, and I've been collecting them for many years. I think the secret of this fascination is that an old map tells a wonderful story of a people and a time in history. The kind of a story only a master storyteller can tell. Stuart Edward White was such a master of the storyteller's art, and a whole generation of Americans grew up with his stories. His wonderful wilderness novels, one after another, ran serially in their most popular magazines, and his books of adventure in the out-of-doors filled their bookshelves. As you can see, this was all not so very long ago. For his crowning work, the Saga of Andy Burnett was not published in its entirety until 1947. In both magazine and book form, this epic novel created a legion of Andy Burnett fans, whose loyalty remains as keen today as when they first read these exciting adventures of a young man on the frontiers of a young America. It is this story, an entirely new kind of story of the American West, never before told on television or in motion pictures, that we bring you now. For the next 3 weeks, a group of 3 adventures from the Saga of Andy Burnett. And from time to time, there'll be other such groups until the whole great story is told. Now, let's turn back from our familiar America to the America of our fathers, and then further back to Andy's America and the Saga of Andy Burnett.
Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome back to the wonderful month of Disney on the happiest cast on Earth. I am your host, as always, Ryan Johnson, and I hope that everybody listening here had a very wonderful winter break. If you are a student here at Concord University, I know I certainly did, and hey, I would say that it is great to be back here on the radio live. So if you guys have been listening to any of the episodes we've been doing over on the internet or on Spotify, then you won't get to see our beautiful faces, sadly enough, and we'll have to be a lot more sensory with what we say. So sorry if you enjoyed those, but hey, it's still going to be a heck of a lot of fun. I'm joined once again by the lovely Lily Harmon.
Hi.
And today we are taking a look at a very interesting piece of Disney history, that being the first episode of the 6-part miniseries, The Saga of Andy Burnett, which aired as a part of the 4th season of the Disneyland anthology series. Because for those of you that have been keeping up with the show on Spotify and YouTube, this is the 3rd week of the wonderful month of Disney, where for the entire month of January we're taking a look at individual episodes of the Disney anthology series, because I think that show is very, very fascinating. So Lily, I have to ask the question to you. How familiar are you with the Saga of Andy Burnett and also the Disney anthology series in general?
I had no clue what it was when you sent me the episode. Never heard of it before, but I did watch the episode you sent me, and I actually really liked it. I loved it a lot, actually.
Were you not familiar with Andy Burnett or the anthology series as a whole?
Both, anything.
I've already explained this to our audience, but given how you weren't on those previous episodes, would you like a brief rundown on what the Disney anthology series is?
Sure.
So the Disney anthology series started out as a project made by Walt Disney himself to get funds for Disneyland. And so that's why the original title of the show was Disneyland, as we saw in the episode that we watched. And yeah, it premiered like a year before the park came out, and essentially it would showcase basically whatever he felt like doing that week, whether it was showcasing like the behind the scenes at his studio, like playing some of his movies or shorts on television, or even original pieces of content made exclusively for the show. Probably the most famous one was the Davy Crockett series, at least in terms of the ones that aired when Walt was alive. But later on, the show would have the premiere for like genuine classics that one could say, like The Muppets Celebrate Jim Henson, or Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella. Even the most recent example is like the new Prep and Landing special. That was made for the anthology show, and it's still going on to this very day, doing exactly what I just told you. Whether they're airing like promotional behind the scenes material, re-airing Disney movies or specials, or making original pieces of content exclusive for the show.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
Yeah, this past few weeks, the first week we looked at Coco, which aired as part of the show later, and they occasionally like to air licensed movies. So last week we took a look at Over the Hedge, which aired as a part of the show. So screw you guys, it counts. And this unambiguously does count as a definitive episode because it was made for the show. And this actually marks a bit of a milestone here for this show, The Happiest Cast on Earth, because of the very first title that we have looked at that was released when Walt Disney was alive. It first aired on ABC in 1957. And, as I mentioned before, it sparked a 6-part mini-series.
Very cool, very cool.
Yeah, as Walt Disney mentioned in the little opening, is based off the book of the same name. And over the course of like the mini-series, it adapts like various like excerpts from the book. Now, I had no idea that Andy Burnett was a thing at all until I saw it come up in my Wheel of Names. No, actually, the way that I've been selecting what I want to talk about for this theme month in particular has been different. Instead of like doing the Wheel of Names, I've been putting the amount of seasons they have in the random number generator, and I put the amount of episodes based on like what season I got. So I got season 4, and then I got like part 3 of the anthology, and I was like, all right, let's do the first part just to be easy on us. And yeah, I thought the episode was a perfectly serviceable thing, especially for the type of Disney content that was made at the time. Like, I think if you know your Disney history, this definitely fits into the type of movies and shows that Walt liked making back then. But we'll get a little bit more into that after a quick little break, so stay tuned for that.
It's tough being a college student. Some of us are fresh out of high school, and some of us haven't been exposed to the school scene for a long time. Either way, no student should ever feel afraid or uncomfortable with the environment around them. If you're experiencing difficulties with another student or fear for your safety on campus, you can go online to concord.edu to the Student Life menu and select Office of Public Safety. For more information, contact Campus Police at 304-384-5357. This has been a public service announcement from WVCU.
And now, our feature presentation.
Alrighty, welcome back to the show. So, let's go ahead and get things started with our thoughts on the Saga of Andy Burnett, Part 1, Andy's Initiation, which aired as a part of Season 4 of Disneyland, as it was called at the time. So, the show opens how every episode of the show opened back then, with wonderful little showcase of Sleeping Beauty Castle saying, "You're watching Disneyland," and When You Wish Upon a Star is playing, and then Tinkerbell does red face.
That's true. She did do that.
Yeah, this was a thing that was present throughout pretty much all the episodes, because like each episode was like, I forgot to mention this in the intro, but each episode of the show back then, when it was called Disneyland, was put into a different category, and it was like the themes of like the park there at the time. So it was like Tomorrowland, Adventureland, and this episode was obviously Frontierland. And so every time they did like the Frontierland episode, we had Tinkerbell doing that. Although then again, when you consider what was in the Peter Pan movie, it's not that far off. Excuse me. So yeah, the episode opens with Walt Disney giving us a little insight on what we're about to watch, which was the standard for anthology shows at the time. With like the Twilight Zone and Alfred Hitchcock Presents. It's typically, the creator of the program just introduces, this is what you're going to see this week. It's not as commonplace now, although I do distinctly remember Guillermo del Toro bringing that back when he made his anthology series for Netflix, Cabinet of Curiosities. Remember that? It was a really good show. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it already. But the episode proper opens with what I can only describe as the most 50s sounding Disney song ever. Yeah. Because the song sounds just like pretty much every single song that wasn't from an animated movie that Disney was making at the time. Yeah. Like the Davy Crockett songs and Zorro and the friggin' the Darby O'Gill songs and everything. It like the pre-Sherman Brothers songs that all kind of sound the same. Not that it's a bad song. It's just the most 50s Disney song.
It was very 50s.
Yeah, but still pretty catchy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we get introduced to our little man, Andy. He's at this bar. He works at this bar, and right off the bat, I don't like this Joe guy just kind of creepily peeking.
Yeah, I did not know what was going on.
He's like, "Who are you? You look like you should not be within a 30-mile radius from a school."
I thought that he was like looking through a hole in the wall or something.
He was. I
realized it was a door. I said, "What is going on?"
It was like there was like a hole in the door that apparently they had back then.
Yeah.
I don't know if that specifically was like a thing back then, but it didn't look cool. Joe Crank was his name, and he kind of reminds me a little bit of Uncle Joe from Petticoat Junction and Green Acres, because just going off of this first episode, he kind of is just a little bit more of like, give me your money so I can skedaddle, so I can use it for my own personal gains. I don't know, maybe as the miniseries goes on, he does become more sentimental. Yeah. But
kind of reminds me of like Jack Sparrow or something.
Yeah, he is pretty
Yeah.
much like that archetype. He is
Yeah.
like the Jack Sparrow and like the Han Solo type of character. And Andy Burnett is definitely like the Luke Skywalker of this show.
Right.
I only mentioned like Uncle Joe because I've been watching a lot of Green Acres in my spare time. You should check out Green Acres. It's a very, very funny, very absurd show. So these bad guy cowboys come in, and you can tell they're bad guys because they're decked out in guns and cool hats, and they want Andy's money because they see that he has a gun gifted to him from Daniel Boone himself, and me being the freaking guy that I am, I look at the episode and I don't think of Daniel Boone, the legendary figure. I instead go, oh, like the TV show. Oh my god. Which is funny because I'm pretty sure this was like a few years before that show even aired. Which, I don't remember much about the Daniel Boone series. I do remember, all I really remember is watching it with my grandma a few times, and I had a decent time watching it with her, and I thought that was neat. But none of that matters because we get into a bar fight.
We do.
Gotta love a good old-fashioned bar fight, especially in, well, it technically wasn't a kids show then, but like it would be viewed as one today, kind of, since it's under Disney. But that's a lot. That's something really funny with like Disney and like old Looney Tunes cartoons back in the day, like.
Because now Disney wouldn't even like think to mention a bar,
Oh no, like we can't even have the kids in the Pinocchio remake drink beer. They like or smoke cigars. They're drinking root beer and protesting. I'm not kidding. In Pleasure Island, that's what they do instead of break stuff, drink beer, and smoke cigars. This is what the bad youth is doing. Drinking root beer and protest.
How awful.
Oh my god. But yeah, they get in a big old fashioned bar fight. Meanwhile, Joe Crank is just kind of passed out.
Yeah.
During most of this, and it just kind of wakes up.
The way he just kind of sat there for a minute, like, I mean, you could tell he was waking up, and he was just laying down there, and it's cracking me up.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite part of the episode, just this bar fight, and this man just knocked out for most of it, and he's just like, what the heck's going on?
Yeah.
We better get out of here. Oh, it was so funny. I just peeked the mic. Oh. And then, they win the fight.
Right.
And then they threaten the owner with a knife.
Yeah.
Probably not the best idea. And it's at this point where we find out that dear old Andy Burnett is actually the grandson of the guy who hunted with Daniel Boone. And that's why he has the gun.
Yep.
Excuse me. Now, before we move on, I do want to mention a certain line of dialogue that I'm sure was fine back then.
Right.
But with our modern sensibilities, it isn't really viewed upon the same way it was back then.
Right.
That being when Joe Crank says, "That's a lot of beaver."
Yeah.
Let that sink in, viewers. Let it sink in, Mouseketeers. Do you hear what I'm saying, Lillian?
Maybe.
I'll tell you when you're older.
Oh, okay.
One quick negative that I feel like we need to talk about is that you're free to disagree with me all you want. I was not a fan of the pacing in that first scene at the bar.
Yeah, me either.
It just kind of dragged.
And they were just playing with the music too much too. It was a lot of just. It almost felt like a silent film at some points because it was just straight music and looking at each other.
It almost feels like they were like pushing to get to the 50-minute mark.
Yeah,
when,
exactly.
Like, you have 6 episodes. Most shows barely get that these days with twice the runtime.
Yeah, it definitely felt a little bit slow. I didn't like it.
Yeah, but you know, once like the bad guys show up, then the pacing gets picked up. It's like they were just treading water until we get there, but yeah, it does pick up the pace relatively well.
Mm-hmm.
So they made the decision to go to old St. Louis.
There we go, St. Louis.
What was the reasoning for going to St. Louis again? For some reason, I couldn't remember that.
I do not remember. I know that Andy wanted to set up a farm there.
That's right.
I cannot remember why Joe wanted to go.
I think it was because his old like posse was there,
Yeah,
like
probably.
his little crew, something like that.
And also, where he's a trickster, he might have tricked Andy into go and be like, "Yeah, we'll go set up a farm," but he got there and was like, "No."
And you know, we see a little bit more of like Joe being a trickster by like trying to like bribe this guy into letting him ride with the luggage because it's cheaper. And when he can't do that, he manages to sucker Andy into giving him like half his fortune that like his grandma gave him, because you know, grandma, like Andy, he only has like his mama. Like he only had like one parent and his grandma. So, but apparently, I guess because of that Daniel Boone money, he was left off with some pretty good stuff. So he was able to afford to like go on that little ferry to St. Louis, which by complete coincidence you can find at Disneyland Park. To go on the Mark Twain Riverboat, baby.
There you go.
It's almost like the show was made to promote Disneyland or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, speaking of promotions, I actually have some very fun little paid advertisements to play for you right here. But when we're done with that, with this shameless promotions, we will be right back with the rest of our thoughts on the episode. So stay tuned for that. Or don't. I don't care.
Every day, there are animals facing neglect, abuse, and terrible living conditions that could be life-threatening. But fortunately, there are organizations and shelters established locally and nationwide that are here to help these animals find the life they deserve. For instance, the U.S. Humane Society aids over 100,000 different animals each year and combats animal cruelty of all kinds. Although the Humane Society is one of the largest organizations striving to protect animals, there are tons of organizations and shelters that are equally striving to help make a difference, but none of them can do it without your help and support, even in the smallest of ways. By adopting, donating, even food rather than money, or just by simply volunteering, you can help make a huge difference in many animals' lives. So help out today, because there are many little lives that need your support. This message is brought to you by WVCU.
Tune in, Concord University. Mountain Lion Radio is here with new music and new faces. From student-based shows to new hits and old favorites, we offer around-the-clock access 24/7. To listen, turn your radio dial to 97.7 FM, go online to concord.edu/WVCU, or download our free app in your app store, WVCU Radio.
Alrighty, welcome back. Hope the radio listeners enjoyed Dolly and Reba, Match Made in Heaven. Really, actually heaven. Speaking of heaven, this is the exact opposite of heaven, what we have to talk about right now. So, as we mentioned, there was some red face in the beginning during the Disneyland intro. And if you thought that was where the dated stuff in this episode ends. No siree. Because they say the I word. Not once, but twice.
Uh-oh.
Now I can see why these episodes are not on Disney Plus. On top of like the show just being very poorly represented on Disney Plus, like the anthology show in general and its originals, like that's probably not something Disney wants to like put on there unless it's like a huge part of their early brand, like Davy Crockett was.
Yeah.
But like, this ain't Davy Crockett. This is Andy Burnett.
Andy Burnett.
Barely anybody remembers this, so just like throw it in the ether. If somebody uploads the entire series to YouTube for free, who cares? Don't claim them. Just like it doesn't matter. Like, we don't want that on our cricket-sized conscience. So what do you think as a white woman? What do you think?
I mean, definitely there was some things that are not in good taste in the whole thing, but I liked the episode, but I also watched like with my grandma, I watch a lot of, oh my god, why is it leaving my mind? Just like all like the westerns and stuff.
Like Bonanza?
I like Little House on the Prairie. That's like one of my favorites, and all those. And she's always watching them, and so I go up and watch them with her.
My grandma and my mom all really, really liked Little House on the Prairie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it might have been just because I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that show was really boring.
Oh, I love it.
Like, as a kid, I was like, when's something gonna happen? What's going? They're just kind of on a farm. They're on a trail. This guy's taking a bath in a river.
Yeah.
The only episodes I remember of Little House on the Prairie was the one I just mentioned of like seeing a grown man take a bath in a river.
Yeah.
And wasn't there an episode where like I don't know, the kids don't go to school, and like one of the kids like falls off of something, and we see his head bleeding?
Maybe, possibly.
I don't know. It's been like 15 years, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's also part of it was like I just kind of got sick of it.
Yeah.
Because like it's not as present now, but like there was like a point in time where like the only show that like both my mom and my grandma would watch was Little House on the Prairie. Like both of them at the same time. It was like that's all they would watch. Nowadays they watch a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like my grandma just watches whatever's on cable, and my mom's been really into true crime lately. But yeah, nothing against Little House on the Prairie. Nothing against you, obviously,
Right.
if any of you like it. It was just never my thing.
Yeah.
Although the miniseries reboot they made is eligible for this radio show, so maybe we'll get it in the next month. Who knows? So, speaking of this show being illegally uploaded to YouTube, how about that trippy 90s ad jump scare we got? There was like half a... So, like, this was taped off of a rerun that aired on Disney Channel. And there was like a snippet of like a very trippy 90s ad.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
Yeah.
It kind of took me out of the show a little bit, but it wasn't too much. It probably would be bad if it wasn't the only smither of a commercial break. Because, it's a TV show. There's going to be commercials.
Yeah.
But when you specifically have like an edit where like all the ads are out, and then suddenly like half a frame of an ad is in there, it's like jump scare. So, yes, at this point, they go to St. Louis. We think they're gonna go off their separate ways.
Right.
They don't. They don't. One weird little thing I want to mention is that like some of the tape fuzz kind of looks like it's snowing.
Yeah, it does.
It's like,
Yeah.
wait, when did it start snowing? Oh, it's just the tape fuzz. It's just the VCR or being a VCR.
Yeah.
And that's why I can excuse the visuals, because it's a VHS recording from the 90s of a show made in the 50s.
Yeah.
So, and I assume this was uploaded to YouTube like 15 years ago, so I don't know, I didn't check, so don't go on the visuals for that. But anyways, at this point, we meet Joe's good old-fashioned buddies,
Yep.
including a guy who, get this, is named Jack Kelly.
Yeah.
Jack freaking Kelly. Sound familiar?
Right.
I immediately thought of two things. One, Jack Kelly, the actor, and also, of course, Newsies.
Right. That's
So,
what I thought of.
if I had a nickel for the amount of Disney properties, like completely different Disney properties, that has a character named Jack Kelly in it, I'd have 2 nickels,
Yep.
which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Yep. I mean, Newsies is one of my favorite. It's probably tied for first place. So I was like, oh, where is he at?
What if this was actually a prequel to Newsies, and this is Jack Kelly's father, and that's why he left, because he was a dirtbag who went off with this group of people who like sing old folk songs in the woods and
you
like
never know.
wrestle each other with knives and crap like that.
Yeah,
So-
maybe. Or
So,
maybe somehow this is Jack Kelly from Newsies after, and the whole newspaper and drawing stuff
But the
didn't
ti-
work out.
But doesn't it take place in like the late 1800s?
Yeah, but it doesn't have to make sense.
I mean, it's kind of like that Tim Burton theory where like Victor from Corpse Bride, Jack Skellington, and Victor from Frankenweenie are all the same person, even though technically, like timeline wise, Corpse Bride is before Frankenweenie, and none of it adds up. But anyways, we meet Jack's old crew of friends. They're all old mates. They're all kind of nice and cool and ruffian, and they realize that old Andy Burnett has the Daniel Boone gun, and so they test his wild mountain countryside. They make fun of his Sunday clothes that he wore, and we get a line that goes so hard, there ain't no law in the mountains.
That's true.
As two folks who grew up in the mountains, mountains of West Virginia, mountains of West by God, Virginia, you might want to
There you
say.
go.
Yeah. There ain't no law here. There ain't no law anywheres in these, especially in Beckley and Charleston. You been to Charleston lately? Like
I don't know when I went there last.
last time I went, I was seeing I went to the Clay Center. It's all Beauty and the Beast, and like Charleston's kind of like. Okay, first of all, I don't want to offend anybody from Charleston, but then again, I doubt you're listening to Athens radio. I'll just leave it at that. Charleston's kind of messy.
Yeah.
So Andy gets in a little rustle tussle with this guy, and they're kind of like. They're kind of almost freaks, to be honest, being into like these weird like fight exercises,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like, oh, they're like actually,
There's like very specific requirements.
yeah, like what was like that one part where like Andy was on the ground and I think it was Jack Kelly where like they locked legs.
They're like leg wrestling.
Yeah, they locked legs and it was like they were like flipping each other over. It was like.
My thing is, I've done that before, and it did not hurt my back as bad as they were acting like it did.
Well,
But
they're
also,
like
I
in
was
their
probably,
40s.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was also doing it probably with like another teenage girl, and like
Yeah.
we're definitely not as strong or as old as those men.
So maybe they shouldn't be doing it, is what you're trying to say.
They were like, yeah, basically.
So Andy eventually gets the upper hand. He beats him. And to be continued for part 2 next week.
Yep.
Although we didn't watch part 2 because that would, like, give us, like, if we watched this whole miniseries, no, I wasn't going to do that. I would probably make us watch the whole miniseries if there was, like, just 3 episodes. Like, the 3 episodes that aired, like, in a chunk.
Yeah.
Because, like, the way they broadcasted the miniseries as a part of, like, the anthology show is that they aired, like, 3 episodes back to back to back, like, within a few weeks. They took a break and did some other stuff, and then they brought it back later in the season. If it was like just those 3, we probably would have done them all. But, you know, looking at it as just the first part, I gotta say, not bad.
No, I liked it.
Yeah, you could say it's a little derivative of some of the other stuff that Disney was putting out at the time. Like, it's definitely similar to Davy Crockett in a way that's like, the old frontier, American folk tales and stuff like that. Plus, the music sounds like Davy Crockett, and the general, like, vibes and the way it's shot is like Davy Crockett. And I wouldn't be 100% surprised if someone would prefer good old Davy over this. One, the folk figure is more famous, and 2, Davy Crockett's more readily available since the 2 movie compilations are on Disney Plus. But, you know, for what this show is, it's enjoyable.
Yeah, I thought it was cute.
Yeah. So, final verdict, Lily. Would you give the Saga of Andy Burnett, Part 1, Andy's Initiation, from a range of 1 to 5? 1 being a big old Pooh Bear, and 5 being a grand spanking castle.
Honestly, I'd probably give it about a 4. I really liked it. I thought the music was cute. I love old Disney, and you know, the story was kind of intriguing. Obviously, they said some things, you know, not in good taste, and
it was a different time.
Yeah. But it was. I really liked it, honestly. So probably
Yeah,
a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I don't know if I'd go quite 4 out of 5 because, you know, I do know a lot about old Disney, and this is kind of derivative of Davy Crockett.
Yeah.
So I'd probably give it a 3.5.
Yeah.
It's perfectly serviceable for what it's trying to do, and, you know.
And I really liked looking at the comments, and it was so cute. I'd see.
I did not look at the comments.
There were little people, and they'd be like, I remember watching this, and we had to make sure we had our homework and our showers done before we could watch it. And I thought it was so cute. Like, that was 65 years ago. I said, oh my gosh.
That could be for the future generation.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, that will be it for this week's episode. Lily, thank you so much for coming back onto the show.
Of course.
Do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Come see Rabbit Hole next month, and it's kind of far away, but Firebringer in the spring.
What are those dates?
Rabbit Hole, I know, is February maybe 13th, 14th, I think.
That is correct.
Yes. And then I have no clue when Firebringer is. Sometime maybe April, March.
It's in April, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely come see Rabbit Hole February 13th and 14th at
fun.
Concord University. Lily's in it. I'm the assistant director, so I get to boss her around sometimes. It's pretty sick. And also, please be sure that if you're listening to this on Spotify, you subscribe to the show and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I should have some more stuff on my other YouTube channels soon. We'll just see whether or not that actually happens. And please be sure to join us next week for our 4th and final week of the wonderful month of Disney, where we shall take a look at the direct-to-video sequel, Aladdin and the King of Thieves. But until then, I will see you later. Bye.